Hi everyone, how are you doing tonight? So I'm Tisha, if you didn't know, and I'm excited that you decided to join me as we make some strawberry shortcake together. It's one of my favorite desserts, and I'm not really a big sweets person, but the fact that it's light, and I also really love a good biscuit. That's the timer on my oven, so excuse that. But I love biscuits so much that this is the perfect dessert to me. Of course, you can make strawberry shortcake as an actual cake version, but you can also make it as a biscuit, add in your fresh whipped cream, strawberries, and let me tell you, once you have fresh whipped cream, you will not want any more Ready Whip, Cool Whip. There's nothing like making fresh whipped cream, and it's so simple, and we're gonna do that today. So before we get started, if you have your cold ingredients out already, if you can take a moment, just put it back in the refrigerator because you wanna make sure that all of your cold ingredients remain cold until we're ready to use them. That plays a big role in keeping your biscuits nice and fluffy once they come out the oven. And you know you want a nice fluffy biscuit, right? So now, as you guys, give you like 30 seconds to do that really quickly. And while you're doing that, we're gonna just get started on the strawberries. Now, I already prepped them in advance, but I wanted to show you how I cut them up, like how big. I used, one of those pints, those containers that you usually buy in a grocery store or a farmer's market or what have you. And I just chopped them in in 6 pieces, right? You still want to have some nice size to them, right? I already washed them, cleaned them. And then you put them in a bowl. You're gonna use a quarter cup and a tablespoon of sugar, okay? Actually, let me backtrack on that. You wanna use the 1/8 cup. So a lot of times measuring cups may not come with an 1/8 cup. So what you wanna do is just take a quarter cup and put fill it up halfway. So that's what you'll wanna do, all right? And then you'll take a tablespoon of sugar in addition to that 1/8 cup. And then you're gonna put your strawberries and sugar together, mix it on up. And you can see right now that it's basically ready to go because after you do that, you put it in your refrigerator and then it'll be ready for when your biscuits come out the oven. You want it to get that nice, you see how juicy it is now? And you want that for your strawberry shortcake. All right, so I'm gonna put this on the side because we don't need it yet. All right. And I use almost the whole container of strawberries. You can use all of them, you can use half. It's really about how you like your strawberry shortcake. I love a really hefty amount of strawberries in there. In every bite, I want to get strawberries, whipped cream, and biscuit. Like, I just want that in every single bite. Okay, so now that we've got that out the way, we're gonna start in on our biscuits. We're gonna take 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. And then we're gonna take 2 tablespoons of sugar. And then we're gonna take 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And then we're gonna take 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. Now, I don't know how many of you got your cream of tartar if you're making it along with me or you're just watching, it's Thursday night, you're in. But cream of tartar, just to give you a little background on it, I know a few years ago when I first learned about cream of tartar, I actually thought it was cream, like actual cream. And clearly it's not. It's a dry ingredient. You find it in the spice section of your grocery store. You use it as a leavening agent. A leavening agent is something you use to help to rise your dough. That in combination with your baking powder, that's what helps to get your fluffiness in your biscuit, all right? And then you're gonna take 1/4 teaspoon of salt, all right? Then we're gonna mix that up. And this is when we get our wet ingredients. So give me just 2 seconds, let me go get that in the fridge, all right? So I know some of you were on during those 5 minutes before we started. Were you dancing and winding up to some soca? Because I know I was. I'm ready. I'm not going anywhere for Labor Day weekend. We'll be home. But with that being said, I still want to, feel like I'm on the Parkway just a little bit, right? I don't even go to the Parkway, but I want to feel like I'm on the Parkway just a tad with my music. All right, so this is 8 tablespoons of butter, salted butter. We're gonna need 6 for the actual biscuits, and then we're gonna leave the remaining 2 for after the biscuits come out the oven. You're gonna melt that, and you're gonna brush it over the top. All right, so let's just chop down our 6 tablespoons. All right. And you just want to try to just cut it down the middle once you chop those tablespoons. Get it as best as you can so that it makes it a little easier once you put it inside of your flour mixture when you try to break it up. And let me tell you a little bit about why we need these cold ingredients, especially your butter. That's so key in a fluffy biscuit. If you leave it out for too long or you over knead it, over mix it, and obviously our hands are warm, so the more we mix it, the more the butter begins to melt, and you don't want that because you end up with flat biscuits. And who wants a flat biscuit? These are not cookies, right? All right, so you're gonna leave this 2 tablespoons of butter left, put that to the side for once you need it after you're done with your biscuits. And right here, I have a pastry cutter. This is what it looks like, right? But I know most times you don't have something like that in your kitchen unless you bake a lot, you make a lot of biscuits and cookies, things like that. So a good old fork works perfectly. So you can just take it. It'll take a little bit more work, but it's doable, right? And you're pushing it down and trying to get it into more of like a crumble, kind of like, I'll say like a green pea. You want it to be about that size, right? So I'm just gonna use the pastry cutter, but I wanted you to see how to work it with a fork. And sometimes it's nice to have these little gadgets in your cabinet, even if you don't use it a lot, because you never know when you want to try something new, and it makes it easier for you to, make that dish. And it's fun to try out new recipes. But if you don't have it, at least you get to work out your biceps just a little bit, I've been working out lately and, trying to get firm and trim and stuff like that. Cause the wintertime, people act like in the wintertime, that's when we could put on all the weight. But I mean, I want to look right in that sweater. Okay. So I've been trying to make it work in with the gym, not the gym, but my little home fake gym. All right. So as you can see, it's like a crumble, right? Make sure all your butter. Okay, I think that's good. And it's okay that, you have these chunks because they're gonna melt when you put it in the oven, obviously. And that salt, you wanna have that salty, sweet taste when you bite into the biscuit. All right, now you're gonna add your 1/2 cup of buttermilk, or if you have whole milk, that's fine too. The richness of the buttermilk does add to the biscuit, but you'll still get a really good biscuit with whole milk. All right, you're gonna mix that just a little bit. We're gonna add 1 egg. All right. We're gonna mix it. For now, you can use a spoon if you want, but we're gonna be getting our hands dirty very soon. In order to make the biscuit right, our hands have to get dirty. So if you're wearing a ring or anything like that, you might wanna take it off, okay? Now you see right now it's still a little dry, right? We wanna get it mixed up, and we'll add a little more buttermilk to it or whole milk to it if needed, but you first want to make sure that you mix it as best as you can. You don't want to over mix it. And now you see the texture is wet, but there's still some dryness in there because you see those pieces right here that are not catching, they're not sticking. That means we need to add a little bit more moisture, okay? So I have some buttermilk here. Just pour just a little bit at a time and you'll know once everything is starting to stick together, you'll know if you've added enough. Like I said, just add a little bit at a time because you don't want to, excuse me, you don't want to put too much moisture in it. You just want it to be just right. So it should feel a little wet, but it should also feel, it should be a medium of wet and dry, if that makes any sense. It should feel slightly sticky, not overly sticky. So let's see, do we have any questions? Do you guys have any questions? Okay, somebody said to repeat. I'm sorry, I didn't see that until right now. So can you let me know which part you wanted me to repeat? Because I can go back a little bit. Let me see. Does anybody have any questions while we're here? All right, so while I'm waiting to see if you have any questions, I'm gonna move on. So now our our mixed wet and dry ingredients are pretty much ready for us to knead that dough. All right, so you see here, it's like a little ball, okay? So now what we're gonna do, let me get some of this dough off my hand. All right, we're going to knead our dough. I know sometimes people are a little bit intimidated by kneading dough. It's really not that difficult. It's all about feeling out the dough. You gotta let your spirit lead you. Just be like, okay, what do I feel? Does this feel right? Do I feel the right thing? And I'm telling you, you just know. The more you do it, you're just like, all right, I feel like this is ready. So you're gonna flour your surface. Let me see, any questions? Okay, the measurements of the dry ingredients. Okay, so it was 1.5 cups of flour, then 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of the cream of tartar, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Am I missing? Oh, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Okay. Yes, that's right. Spirit lead me where my trust is without borders. Like, let the spirit lead you. You will know what to do. Okay, so I just want to go over our ingredients one more time since I know some people maybe got a little late, and I know that I'm moving a little quicker than you probably are since I, had some things pre-ready so that we wouldn't be on here for an hour. Okay, so you're going to start by making sure all of your cold ingredients are in the oven, in the refrigerator. Also, you want to preheat your oven to 450 degrees. Okay, so you want to make sure that's ready so that when you're done with getting your biscuits together, you can pop your dough right into the oven. From there, you're going to want to take your strawberries. I used almost my whole pint. You could use the whole thing. It's really up to you how much you want, for your shortcake. But once I put them in a bowl, I then added 1/8 cup of sugar, and some measuring cups have 1/8 included, but some don't. So what you'll want to do is take 1/4 cup and half it, and that'll give you 1/8. And then you'll add a tablespoon on top of that of sugar, mix it up, place it in your refrigerator, and it'll help to get the juices nice and wet. Everything will, the sugar will dissolve on the strawberries, and then you'll be able to enjoy it in your shortcake. All right. And then after that, again, I'll say the dry ingredients one more time. 1.5 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. All right. And then you're going to mix it all up. This is how it looks after everything is done. So I put my dry ingredients in here. And then after that, I added my wet ingredients. I started with the salted butter. I used 6 tablespoons. I used, if you don't have a pastry cutter, you can use a fork to chop that up. You want it to resemble kind of like the size of a green pea. And then after that, I added my buttermilk, a half a cup, and then I added my egg, 1 egg. All right, mix all that up. And if you feel that a lot of your flour is not like sticking to the wet ingredients, you don't have enough buttermilk for everything to stick, just add a little bit more. You just add a little bit more at a time until everything comes together. This is how you want it to look once it all comes together. All right, let me check if you have any questions. All right, let's see. Just checking, make sure I'm not missing anything, guys. Okay. Oh, yes, that's shout out to hubby. He is my videographer, producer, sound, everything. So shout out to him for real, because if it was just me, we'd just be on the iPhone trying to make it work. Okay, did you hear him? Okay, so now we go into the floured surface. And this is where you're kneading your dough. And this is where it'll get a little dry. You want the dough to get a little drier. You still want it to have some stickiness to it, but you want it more dry on the outside and more stickiness on the inside. Okay? So you just sprinkle a little as you go. Knead it a few times. And as you're kneading it, you're adding some more of the flour that you put on the surface onto your dough. So for you guys watching, do you make your own biscuits? Do you like making biscuits? Or is it something that you found to be a little intimidating? Is it something that you found to be a little intimidating? I know I've heard from a few friends that's one of the things that always feel like they can't really do is biscuits. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make this today, because I wanted people to see it's really easy to make biscuits. So right now, it feels like the way I wanted to, which is a little drier on the outside, still a slight wetness, but slight. And on the inside is a little bit more sticky, okay? I'm gonna add just a little more, okay? And then now you have this ball, right? So you wanna flatten it out just a bit. You basically want it to be about 1 inch thick. When it's all said and done. It will rise more, right? Because that's why you have your baking powder and your cream of tartar, but you do at least want to start out with it a little thick so that it can really give that nice rise that you want in a biscuit. All right, now I'm going to show you. Got my pastry cutter here, right? Everyone doesn't have a pastry cutter, so this is what you're going to use instead. A glass. You don't have to have anything fancy to make it work, right? So you take a glass. This is 3 inches around. So you take it. Oh, one tip I want to give you. To avoid it sticking, whether you're using a biscuit cutter or whether you're using a glass, you take some flour that you already have at the side, just kind of put it around here a little bit. It won't necessarily like be really sticky, but you just want to kind of coat the rim of your glass or your biscuit cutter. So to help when you're actually cutting it, your biscuits won't get stuck to the equipment you're using. Okay, so, all right, let me show you. Okay, guys, so you see how that looks? Do you see that? All right. Now I'm gonna get out, while I'm doing this, I'm gonna get out my baking sheet so I can begin to put that on. Get these things out of here. All right, now you have your baking sheet with your parchment paper on it already. And then you're gonna begin to put your biscuits on the baking sheet. And when you put them on, you actually want to make them close together. They're not biscuits that you keep separated. Okay, you're going to want to make sure you put them close together. And that actually also helps in the rise of your biscuit. Okay. All right, guys. See it again, I'm nice and close together. Make sure that you can see how close they are. Are there any biscuit lovers out there like me? Like, I can eat it with fried chicken. When I used to eat fried chicken, I could eat it with just jam or honey. Oh yes, give it to me with some honey. Just drizzle some honey on it. With eggs, with so many different things. Clearly I love biscuits. I probably have a problem. And I just want to show you real quick that the biscuits, right? I cut all of the pieces and there's still a lot of dough left, but I could no longer use my biscuit cutter because there weren't enough chunks. So you go back in, you knead again. And then you roll it out again so that you can make some more biscuits. Let me get a little more flour here. You don't want to waste any of your dough. I mean, it's so much remaining. You want to make sure that you get every ounce of it used, because you just can't have too many biscuits, as far as I'm concerned, at least. All right. They're nice and close. So probably give me another 1 to 2 biscuits. And as you're going, you'll notice that there are chunks of butter, in there. That's a good thing. Don't be stressed about it. Don't try to mush them down. Leave them as is. All right. And give me this last one. It won't be as pretty as the rest, but it'll do. All right. And then you're gonna put it in the oven at 450 degrees for about 12 minutes. Let me show you. All right. Okay. And now I'm gonna place them in the oven. I'm gonna set my timer for 12 minutes. However, I would suggest setting your timer for about 10 minutes just to check on it. Everybody's oven is different. So if it's not ready, you can always let it keep cooking. But if it's overcooked, there's nothing you can do about it. So it's best to check it a little early, all right? So I'm gonna put this at 12 minutes. And while it's in the oven, I just wanted to see, are there any questions? Let's see. Yes, I don't know if I mentioned that a little earlier. It's good for them to touch. You want them to touch. I intentionally did that because that actually helps in the rise of your dough, the fluffiness of your biscuit. It definitely is something you want for sure. I put the butter on top afterwards, once it's, completed and it melts, it's melted butter, not still in its solid form. So I melt the butter and then I just brush it on top. So have you guys ever been to like Popeyes when they're doing that in the back? Have you ever seen it from when you're checking out and how much butter they just put on? I mean, it's so bad, but it looks so good, just like. And are you if you're eating a fast food biscuit, are you a KFC biscuit person or a Popeyes biscuit person? I personally prefer, which might sound weird, I liked both, but for different reasons. Sometimes Popeyes was a little bit too buttery on top, so I would take off a little bit of the top, but I really liked the inside. And sometimes KFC was a little dry, but it's good for this Popeyes. See? All right. Popeyes.
Someone wants you to mail them.
Mail it to you? If I could, I would. It's not going to taste as good. Biscuits taste best fresh, so you won't like them as much. And while the biscuit's in the oven, so because it takes 12 minutes and we don't have much left to do, it might be that we actually end before the biscuits are done. So I still want you to see next steps and what will take place. So usually what happens is once your biscuits are cooling, because you can't assemble it while it's cooling. Actually, give me 1 minute. I'm gonna take. Okay, great. Just wanted to check on something on the stove. So you can't assemble it while it's so hot. So you have to give it about 10 minutes or so to cool down, because if you assemble it while it's so hot, your whipped cream is just gonna melt, and then that's just not cute. So what you want to do is once it comes out the oven, give it about 10 minutes. Then you'll assemble, add your whipped cream, your strawberries. But since, you know, for time's sake, and if we have questions and we get to that point, then I'll definitely show you with these biscuits, but I'm gonna speed ahead, fast forward a little bit. Usually when it's cooling, you'll take your heavy whipped cream and you will make your whipped cream. And what you'll be needing is a cup of heavy cream. You'll need 4 tablespoons of powdered sugar, and you will need a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So I'll repeat that one more time. You'll want 1 cup of heavy cream, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 4 tablespoons of powdered sugar. And once you have all of that, it's best to have a hand mixer because it just makes it easier. It takes a little while. With a hand mixer, it takes maybe 3 to 4 minutes to beat it and get that whipped cream. If you just have a manual whisk, I mean, you can do it again, you know, a little workout on the arm, never hurt anybody, but it will take you a little bit more, all right? And with that being said, I actually want to show you how it'll look once it's done. I'm not going to do it on camera because it's obviously really loud for me to use the mixer, and you guys don't want any parts of that. So let me just go and get my finished product out of the refrigerator. One moment. All right, so this is how your whipped cream looks once it's all said and done. All right, let me get this out the way so we can start assembling. Just give me one moment. All right, just wanted to dust that off. Again, this is our whipped cream, right? And let me tell you something, once you have homemade whipped cream, I don't know if you guys ever made it before. I'm gonna read some of your comments, see? Okay, well, if you don't like whipped cream, then you just do your strawberries and you're good. But if you are a whipped cream lover, then you're gonna, again, wanna wait those 10 minutes. Guess what? I got biscuits ready for you guys. I came prepared, okay? Ta-da! These are your biscuits once they're done. Aren't they pretty? Aren't they pretty? Yes, I love them. It looks so. Oh, somebody said ice cream. Ah, that's an option. That's an option. All right, so we have our biscuits, and then I'm gonna grab our strawberries, right? Already made. And don't forget our butter. So I have one of these brushes, right? You use it to brush on butter, things of that nature. If you don't have that, you know what you could actually use? You can take a paper towel and you can dip it into the melted butter, and then you can brush it on that way. It works. Okay? I feel like I'm in Popeyes right now. All right. It's so wrong, but doesn't it look so right? It does, right? I know. But it's okay because it's Labor Day weekend. So weekends like that, calories don't count. That's what I feel. Calories don't count. All right. Let's see. You guys are so funny. Thanks for the hacks. We hungry. I'm hungry too. You moving in. All right, see now y'all trying to bum rush my place. I don't know, it's COVID. Make sure you wear your mask, okay? Wear your mask. All right, now let me get a plate. Actually, we can do it right on the cutting board. Let's take one to start. Let's do it with 2. How about that? We're gonna take 2 biscuits, right? Let's get our knife. We're gonna cut it open. See the inside? It's cooked. All right, you know that it's all the way done. All right. Okay. Now, usually what I like to do is I like to take, I'm gonna get it for you so you can see. I usually like to take my, this is what I use when I'm doing like piping or anything like that. And I put my whipped cream in it, and I'll put the biscuits, the whipped cream on the biscuits that way. It's okay if you don't have a piping bag, because you can use a Ziploc bag. You cut the corner of a Ziploc bag, you don't have to put a big hole in it. And that can be your piping bag. Real simple, and then you don't have to wash anything. You just throw it away when you're done. All right? So let me get. All right, so I'm gonna start by putting some strawberries directly on the biscuit. These are just a little warm, not too hot. And that's what you want once your biscuits cool down. You want them warm, you don't want them piping hot. All right. And you want that juice, you want to drizzle that juice on there. Do you see that? Do you see the juice? Do you see the juice? Do you see it? I said, do you see it? All right. All right. And I'll put that to the side for now. I'm going to take this piping bag and just add some whipped cream. Again, use a Ziploc bag. Or you can just do it with a spoon. I mean, you don't have to be fancy with it. It's all the same. Still gonna taste the same. But just want to give you those little hacks in case you want to do it that way. All right. Put my whipped cream in. Then you want to put it on top of your strawberries. All right. And then you're going to close up. Oh, that's backwards. You're going to close it up. And then you know what else happens, right? You put some more on the top. Okay? Okay. Actually, do that one that way. Put some whipped cream. All right. Put some more strawberries on top. Get some of that juice on there. Right. Put some more whipped cream. And then put some more strawberries. And that's it. And there you go. All right. I'm sorry you guys can't be taste testers, but you will be able to make your own, and then you can taste those. Haha. I'm going to keep this live. This live, I will save it. You know, you guys can go back, and anything that you missed, you'll be able to catch it that way. Okay? Let me see. Any questions? Can you do let me see. What am I missing? Somebody asked if Ed's okay over here. You okay over here with the food?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna be better in a minute.
He's gonna be better in a minute when we get off and he can actually eat it. Emmanuel, watch this live with her. If you want your wife to wake this, watch this live with her. Y'all should have made it a little date, you see.
Bake and date.
Bake and date. Matter of fact, since I'm saving it, you guys can take Saturday. Maybe, you know, you're going to the barbecue late. Maybe you can do it in the afternoon or whenever. It'll be up. So make it a bacon date. And you do it with her. All right? So you don't put all the work on her. You do it with her. And then y'all can have a nice little treat together. Right? And then you could have a treat later. But we won't talk about that. Okay? All right. Oh, biscuits are done. So let me just get that out the oven. Actually, they still look a little like they need a little more browning. So I'm gonna put it for another 2 minutes. All right. Any other questions? I'm seeing. I'm available for taste testing. Okay, so they're requesting that it comes on camera to be the taste tester. So he's coming, guys. He's coming. I didn't want to ask him because sometimes he doesn't want to get on camera, but I think he just wants to taste it, so he doesn't care.
Yeah, look, I don't care what y'all say. I'm going to eat it, and I'm going to love it. Thank ya. I ain't even gonna eat it in front of ya. Thank ya. Mm.
They want to see your reaction.
Mm. Mm.
It's good? Is it good?
Delicious.
It's delicious, he said.
It really is.
He said it really is. So it wasn't just for the camera because he's my husband, but he said it really is. What am I missing? All right, guys. Any questions? Oh, let me make sure I didn't miss any questions. Did y'all see his reaction? Somebody just said, oh, I just dropped some whipped cream all over my floor. Did you guys see his reaction? He said it was delicious. All right, guys. So that's basically it. Now, before it's gonna say I'm gonna save it. Hopefully, I know what to do to save it right. Oh, okay. See, he's also my personal assistant today. Ed already saved it, so thank you, babe. It's saved. So if you were trying to cook along, and I know I moved quicker than what you needed, you can go back, watch it, finish up your recipe, or if you want to make this another night, it'll be up there. But until then, enjoy your Labor Day weekend. Wine a little bit for me, lime a little bit for me, eat a little bit for me, and continue to eat, laugh, and love, guys. All right? So, oh, before we get off, let me show you the biscuits that just came out the oven. They just finished. Oh, these look right, guys. Do you see? Do you see? I have all these extra biscuits. What am I going to do with them? And I don't even have you guys here to eat it. Oh, well, this is it. All right? Enjoy your Labor Day weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll definitely do this again. Again, eat, laugh, and love, guys. All right? Bye.